Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rockies Now podcast. We are a Colorado Rockies podcast, and this is a recap of the short two-game series against the Houston Astros down in Houston, Texas. I am Tom, one of your co-hosts. Steven is still traveling back on his way home from vacation back to the great state of Colorado, so we wish him and his family safe travels. He will be back to join me on the Rockies recap of the series against the White Sox in Chicago on Sunday. But for now, it's just me tonight. I'm on my own. So let's get to this. Now, again, this is a short two-game series just down in Houston, Texas. Unfortunately, the Rockies ran into a red-hot Astros team, and the Rockies lost both games. Game one, the Rockies lost by a score of 5-2, and they lost today's game, the finale, by a score of 7-1. Now, quick thing I just noticed before I jumped in here, I did my little prep for this series. There was a big power outage, so to speak. There was only one home run hit in this two-game series, and it was by Michael Toglia in the ninth inning of Game 1 off of Josh Hader. Maybe it's just me, but I find that just kind of odd, considering all the, not necessarily, of course, the Rockies have some power in their lineup, but just the Astros lineup with guys like Alvarez, Bregman, etc., Altuve, etc. Again, it's just kind of odd. I find that just rather strange, especially in, down in Houston, Texas, where the ball does fly pretty well. It is a retractable roof, but oh well. Again, just quick note, I find that kind of rather odd. But anyway, let's get to this one here. Again, Game one, which was yesterday, the starting pitchers for the two sides, it was Austin Gomber for the Colorado Rockies and Hunter Brown for the Houston Astros. Both guys did good. Did well. We're good. I mean, it wasn't a pitcher's duel. Austin Gomber did give you some length, pitching 5 1/3 innings. He did give up 5 earned runs on 8 hits, only 4 strikeouts. Again, that's okay. It's what you want. You want length out of your starting pitcher, and that's what he gave you. Justin Lawrence came in and had a scoreless inning in 2/3, and Anthony Milan had a scoreless inning as well. So again, the pitching staff, it's not extremely ideal giving up 5 runs, but it gives your offense a chance to try and win a ball game. The Astros did use 5 pitchers in this game. Hunter Brown went 6 innings, and you had, Scott, Martinez, Presley, and Hader to close it out. So that was all good. Again, that was the Astros bridge of starter to closer, basic bridge for them. They try to close it out. That's a typical kind of win or close save situation for hold on. Espada, that's right. The Astros, for Espada, the Astros manager. I almost said Dusty Baker. I forget he's retired. Espada was his heir apparent after being Dusty's bench coach for a couple years. So, but all this game was good, for the Rockies. They had 6 hits. The unfortunate part is they were 2 for 6 runners in scoring position. They left 8 runners on base. Excuse me, I couldn't see very well. Left 8 runners on base. Rymack had a stolen base, and like I said, it was nice to see Michael Toglia not just hit a home run tonight, but he hit it from the right side. Again, he's switch hitter. When you're switch hitter, you morally bat from the left side because there's a lot more right-handed pitchers than left-handed pitchers in Major League Baseball. And it was off Josh Hader, their closer. It was a good shot, and it wasn't a horrible pitch. Hader got low and inside, just out into the inside part off the strike zone. And Toglia, he went down, got it in, and got a good swing on it, got the barrel to it, and just took a good out. So that was the big moment for the Rockies in this game. Again, also there was another run by the Rockies. Brendan Rodgers had an RBI single. And, the Astros, they had 5 in that first inning off of Austin Gomber, and they just rode that. And, of course, the Rockies mounted a small comeback there with 1 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th, but just all in all, couldn't do it. So Astros win the game. And, of course, today I was hoping for a little bit. We were hoping for a series tie. Again, the last time we played the Astros was down in that series in Mexico City. But again, this was kind of somewhat more of the same for the Rockies. Today's starting pitchers were Ryan Feltner for the Colorado Rockies, and hold on, make sure. I really probably am going to butcher this name. Spencer Arrighetti. Sorry if I butchered that name. He's we saw him. No, I don't. Actually, no, I don't believe we saw him in Mexico City. But anyway, so he actually pitched very well. 7 scoreless innings. Then of course Dubin came in, and then of course King to close it out. For the Rockies, you had Tyler Kinley through 2/3 of an inning, gave up 2 runs. Ty Block pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up 1 run, and Victor Vonda came in and had a scoreless 2/3 of an inning. all in all, the Rockies in this game, it was a little bit worse. Only 4 hits. Ezekiel Tovar did have a 2-hit game. Nolan Jones had a hit. Jake Cave had a hit. Unfortunate part of this game for the Rockies offense, they had 14 strikeouts. 14. The only guy who didn't have a strikeout was Bretton Doyle. He drove in the only run of the game for the Rockies, which was a sac fly in the 8th inning. You know, it's just, again, Houston, they're a red hot team. This right now, let me just double check, make sure I get this correctly. Right now, because they're creeping up there in the standings. Right now, this is officially their 7th straight win. So again, I remember everyone's kind of freaking out in April and May. Oh my goodness, is the Astros dynasty over? Is it over? Well, I can't remember who said it. There was one podcast. I can't remember. I think it was the Nothing Personal podcast with David Sampson, which is a good listen if you haven't listened to it. He's a great guy to listen to, a very former Major League Baseball executive with the Marlins. He did have a wait to see, which is something he does, where he predicted the Astros will turn this around. And so far they turned this around. Again, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've won 7 in a row. They're now 4.5 games back of the Seattle Mariners. So they're right there, just kind of looking over their shoulder, just kind of creeping up there, catching up on them. The Mariners are a little bit of a skip. They won today, but they're 4-6 in the last 10 games. And so, the Astros hot team, we'll see. I mean, of course, that core is possibly going to start being, it's been slowly dismantled over the years with guys like Correa, Springer leaving in recent seasons. Alex Bregman is a free agent. Altuve was going to be a free agent, but he signed an extension with I believe, a 5-year extension with the Astros. So he's not going to free agency. He decided to sign an extension, even though he is a Boris client. He decided to sign the extension. It's his choice, his career. So, and hey, it's not a bad contract, to be honest with you. So again, this was a tough series for the Rockies, and right now the Rockies now officially dropped to, hold on, I think we had 27 and 53. So today was game number 80. We're almost there. Our next Friday. Yeah, Friday's game game 1 in Chicago on Friday will be the 81st game. So we will officially be halfway through the season for the Rockies. Most teams have already hit that 81 mark. The Rockies, of course, have one more game to get there. So we shall see what we finish after the first 81 games of the season after Friday night's result. Trying to see, a couple other winning streaks. The Milwaukee Brewers, who are currently sitting in first place in the National League Central, they're on a 4-game winning streak. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. The Oakland A's are currently on a 5-game losing streak. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. Let's see, what are some big other losses? Oh yeah, my favorite team, Chicago White Sox. They've lost 4 in a row. They actually just finished today getting swept by the Los Angeles Dodgers downtown on the south side of Chicago. We'll get to that. I'll get to them in a minute, because that's who, of course, we're playing in our next series. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. And here's some updates for all of you as the standings go in the National League West. The Los Angeles Dodgers currently lead the division with a record of 51 and 31. The San Diego, of course, divisionally, the San Diego Padres, who hold one of the wild card spots, they are currently in second place in the division with a record of 44 and 41. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they are currently third in the division with a record of 39 and 40. They are currently 2 games out of a wild card spot. The San Francisco Giants are in fourth place with a record of 38 and 42. They are 3.5 games out of a wild card spot. And our Colorado Rockies sit at 27 and 53, bringing up the rear in 5th place. We are 14.5 games out of a wild card spot, and 23 games out of the division away from the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'll get to my thoughts on where they stand in just a moment here. When we're not at 81. We haven't played 81 games. We played 80, but one more. We are almost there. So I'll just give my thoughts real quick on the first half of the season. First, I will go over the next series, which is against my favorite team, the Chicago White Sox. Again, not saying I don't love the Rockies. The White Sox, I've been a fan since I was 5 years old. I have roots from the south side of Chicago. I've been a fan and going to games since I was 5 years old. Love the White Sox. Then it was when I was a teenager, Todd Helton, he was one of my favorite players. I became a Rockies fan. And lo and behold, here I am today. I have my 2 teams. The White Sox are my American League team, and the Rockies are my National League team. So we'll see. And right now, the sad part is the White Sox and Rockies currently hold the 2 worst records in Major League Baseball. The Rockies are 1 game behind the Miami Marlins, who have 28 wins right now. So, anywho, let's get into this. The series preview against the Chicago White Sox here on the South Side of Chicago. Just to give you some news updates, I will be at the game on Saturday. So, not sure if anybody will be around. If you do, feel free to stop by and say hi. I'll give them a whereabouts to him. So, let's see. I will go a quick recap into this. So, game 1 is Friday night. Excuse me. The pitching matchup will be for our Colorado Rockies will be Dakota Hudson against Drew Thorpe, who is a top pitching prospect for the Chicago White Sox. He is their number 2 ranked pitching prospect. Let me just double check what his current top one. He is the 53rd ranked overall ranked prospect in the top 100 across Major League Baseball. He is, and so far he has had 3 starts. His major league debut was in Seattle against the Mariners. He threw 5 scoreless innings. He had a rough start in his second start, but recently he had another very solid start, which lowered his ERA. So getting back on track after rebounding after quite a tough second start. He is very good. Not an overpowering pitcher. Doesn't have a heavy fastball. Is not going to light up the radar gun. His bread and butter pitch is his changeup. It is beautiful, slow, really puts the brakes and throws hitters off guard. That he works off his fastball and his slider. He also mixes a cutter, and a sweeper, which he does not use very often. But his bread and butter, his 2 best pitches, I would say, are his changeup and his slider. And again, not overwhelming fastball. So if the Rockies want to induce some contact, they can try and get. If they want to get to him early, again, this is only his 4th major league start, so maybe the Rockies have a chance to get off at him and keep things going. So that's the pitching matchup for game 1. Game 2, this is the game I will be at on Saturday. It is not a night game, it's a day game. Go figure on that one. It'll be Cal Quantrill for our Colorado Rockies, who right now currently sits at a record of, hold on one second. Just want to make sure I see that correctly. 6-5 with a 3.5 ERA. And as the All-Star voting kind of winds down again, the fans do not vote for pitchers. If he has a couple more really good starts, he still serves a chance. Again, there's obviously pitchers who are ranked higher than he is currently. But again, anything can happen. You never know. But either way, it's been a very good first half of the season for him. He will be going against Jonathan Cannon, who is another top-ranked White Sox pitching prospect. Not ranked in the top 100, but he is solid. He has a little heavier fastball. He can reach the mid-90s, not a triple-digit guy. His top pitches are his sinker, sweeper, and his cutter. He does like to mix things down in the zone. So again, for the Rockies hitters, they got to make sure to be careful not to swing on top of it. There could be a lot of ground balls thrown by Cannon. He's had an up and down season, but he's had a string of really solid starts. So if the Rockies want to get to him, they're going to have to really watch out for pitches low in the zone. As I mentioned, sweeper and sinker are his 2 best pitches. So they've got to keep an eye out for those, especially there could be a chance to draw some walks against him. So got to be a little bit more patient. And this is the big matchup. Bummer. I wish I was going to this game, but either way, Sunday's matchup is the matchup of the big lefties. It is Kyle Freeland for our Colorado Rockies, coming off a just a fantastic return from the injured list against Garrett Crochet. And boy, oh boy, let me tell you, this guy is a beast. He is a beast. He is a former White Sox first-round draft pick. They drafted him in the first round of 2020. He served a couple years as a reliever. This is his first year as a starter. Let me tell you, this guy, oh boy, he is, like I said, a beast. He's an intimidating presence on the mound. Tall guy, quite a good build on the guy. His top pitch, when he was first called up, like a lot of young pitchers will do, is they'll try and just let their heat fly. He was throwing in triple digits when he was just a quote unquote thrower. Now he's learned to be a pitcher, and as a starter, you can't just empty the tank and gun it with triple digits. So he does hit the high 90s with his fastball, but his big other pitches are his cutter and his slider. They're very effective, especially I love his cutter. It really cuts in nicely, whether he goes inside to the left, inside to the righties, or cuts it in a backdoor cutter against the righties, or he really cuts it across to the outside of the plate against lefties. Or he has, it's kind of crazy. He sneaks one in the low inside part of the zone. It's pretty crafty with it. But again, big guy, tall, high leg kick, very interesting release point, a short-handed delivery. So if you want to watch a great pitching matchup and a really talented pitcher, watch Sunday's game, because I can see this being a really solid pitcher's duel. If Freeland is on like he was in in his last start in his return from the IL. Trust me, the Rockies, both offenses are going to have their hands full against these two lefties. It could be a pitcher's duel, so just be ready. If you want to watch one of these games weekend, tune in to watch Sunday's game. That could be a seriously solid display of pitching. Again, Freeland's not a big strikeout guy. Crochet is, so you could see two different styles. Ground ball, more of a finesse ground ball pitcher against a strikeout power pitcher. That has the shapings to be a great pitching matchup. So again, we'll see. It has the makings to be of it being a great matchup. And again, it's, as I said before, the Rockies and White Sox are my two favorite teams. It's just, if I could just, it's never in my lifetime would I've ever thought that my two favorite teams have the two worst records in the league in a given season. That's life. That's life of being a sports fan. Sometimes you can have the years where you're just up here on a high, you're pushing for playoffs, you're possibly going for the World Series, and then next thing you know, you're down at the floor, just you fall flat on the floor and you're just down the dumps. You have your occasional pick-me-up moments, but then you boom, fall right back down. It's been a tough year. I mean, these two teams are somewhat comparable. If I had to compare offenses, I give the Rockies the edge on offense. Defense, I give the Rockies also a slight advantage on defense, where they have solid defense. The White Sox have some solid defenders as well, but they've struggled more with injuries than the Rockies have. Pitching, I would give a fairly even match. I would give the White Sox starting rotation a slight advantage because the White Sox from 1 to 5 have had some solid starting, more consistent performances in terms of starts from guys like Crochet and Fetty. Jonathan Cannon's been good. Drew Thorpe has been good. But again, the Rockies have had a great year performances. Kyle Freeland, hopefully he continues to build off this start. Cal Quantrill, Austin Gomber have been very good. And of course, Ryan Feltner, he's been up and down, but he's shown some good. And Dakota Hudson's been a veteran, stable presence, but it's been tough for him. He's had tough, but it's been tough for him in the last couple of years of his career. So I give both starting rotations have really provide a lot of innings. They provide a good length in terms of starts from not having too many quick hooks from their managers, Pedro Grifol and Bud Black. And when I look at these two bullpens, they're easily the weak points of both these teams. If you think the Rockies bullpen has had some tough, watch the White Sox bullpen. They've blown plenty of leads. They're comparable. I mean, the one thing that the White Sox have in terms that the Rockies really don't have is they don't have an electric arm like Michael Kopech who can just gun it and throw triple digits. So if you're looking for this is going to be, if you want to see something for either of these two teams to have success, it's going to basically come down to, I think, whoever's offense can figure out the other team's starting pitchers, because let's face it, neither bullpen, I will be shocked in this series if either bullpen in any of these three games holds the opposing team's offense to 0 runs, because I'm sorry to say, that's just how bad these two bullpens are. And I'm not knocking anybody. I'm trying to be a negative Nancy here, but that's just the reality of what the season's been. If these two teams need to really have a glaring need of improving in the area of improvement in the offseason, it's the bullpens. That should be no surprise to anybody if you watch either of these two teams. So what I'm hoping for is good starting pitching matchups. Again, there's some good ones, especially in game 3. I'm literally looking forward to a pitcher's duel, hoping for a pitcher's duel in that one, because I'd love to see the two lefties just go at it and just basically try and dare the other team's offense. And what it can come down to is whichever team's offense, which pitcher blinks first and which offense figures it out first. So it's been a tough year for me watching these two teams, but sports is my passion. Baseball is my favorite sport. And these two teams are two teams I'm very passionate about. I love the black and white, the black and purple. I will wear those colors and these two of the logos of these two teams till the day till the day I die. And I'm hoping for brighter seasons ahead, and hopefully I can see these two teams reach the ultimate dream of hoisting the Commissioner's Trophy at the end of the season, one time each. For the White Sox, it would be their 4th World Series in franchise history, and for our Colorado Rockies, it would be their first. I hope I'm alive to see it for the day that it happens. But yeah, so again, that's the series coming up in Chicago. I will be at the Saturday game, so I'm hoping for some nice weather, some good baseball, and maybe, just maybe, if you haven't heard about it, one of the big new attractions at Guaranteed Rate Field on the south side of Chicago is the Campfire Milkshake. I don't know if I'm gonna try this thing. I think it's 16 ounces and it's got cooked marshmallows like a milkshake. I don't know if I'm gonna try. It looks so filling. If I do, I'll post a picture about it and see it and give you my review on it if I give it a shot. But again, we'll see. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, again, looking forward to a great game and hoping for a good series this weekend. Again, Steven will be back with me on Sunday for the recap of the series. So we'll see what the outcome is of the two teams with the worst records in Major League Baseball right now. Let's see how this goes. And yeah, so anyway, thank you so much tonight for tuning in. Again, if you are not following us, please be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. It's right below, it's right there at the bottom of our screen down there. We have our Instagram page, our Twitter X, and of course our Threads page. And be sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel for updates on these series recap episodes, as well as new episodes of the podcast. You can tune in live and such. Don't forget real quick side comment. The All-Star game is coming up. Ryan McMahon is going to need our Tovar. It seems he's falling out of it right now. Ryan McMahon he needs our help. So be sure you go to vote. You can vote 5 times each day. Go in, submit those votes. Rymac. Vote for him. Vote for him. We need it. If we want him to get to the All-Star game, he needs our help. Let's give him our help and let's make sure he gets there. And also, the selection show is coming up soon. The draft is also coming up soon. Steve and I are thinking of doing a live showcast for the first couple of picks of the first round. We'll give you updates as that gets closer. And yes, and also just a reminder, the All-Star game is in Arlington, Texas. So let's send Rymac down there. Our next full episode, we are not sure. Again, Steve and I have been pretty busy with things, so we'll let you know as soon as we figure it out when our next episode is, and we will announce when we're going to be recording it if you'd like to join live. So that'll do it. And Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Rockies recap. And again, we will be back Sunday for the recap of the series in Chicago against the White Sox. And always, go Rockies.